So apparently, Karen Leavitt's relative has been detained by ICE. This is the headline: White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt's relative detained by ICE. And you're like, what the heck is this? It says the mother of Leavitt's nephew is subject to deportation, sources said. So I think probably, and I'll go through it with you. I think it's her brother. I had a kid with someone, didn't get married though, and essentially is being detained. I believe they're from Brazil. And I looked at multiple stories of this because there's slightly different versions, because it's just literally breaking now. ICE will say one thing, the person's lawyer will say something else, and then people now going through their social media trying to figure out, okay, who are these people? But they all seem to say the same thing, though. ICE detains relative of White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt. And, my first reaction to this stuff, here's another one. Karen Leavitt's family member detained by ICE goons. This time it's personal. Here's my first reaction to this one. I was thinking, to introduce the story, would I say this is a crazy story, insane story? And I really started thinking about it more. And I think it's not so bizarre or insane in terms of the relationship. Yes, ICE people just arresting whoever, that part's crazy. I want to make that clear. But this idea that it would be one of, Karen Leavitt's relatives, or maybe one of Trump's, or theoretically one of mine, which could certainly happen, because we're all connected. And for those of you who say, oh, Chris, you're so dumb, I don't know anyone who is an immigrant, I don't know anyone, right? Well, you know me. I'm being frank with you guys, you know me. If you don't know, I came from Vietnam at the end of the war, basically had very little paperwork, if any, didn't even know my birthday. It's a long story. I talk about it in my book, but I wasn't a citizen in USA for years. It was and it was funny because growing up in USA, it's a long story. Like, this concept that USA, like, that they would just, arrest me and stuff like that, it would just seem crazy, to be frank, because I was, brought to the USA as a baby, essentially. And it sounds like the relative Karen Leavitt's might be the same situation, to where they were, brought to USA as a kid. And, you're a kid, you don't have any choice of this stuff. My situation was the U.S. military brought me, and, this person's situation, I think they came with their parents. And then what it sounds like then, she met Leavitt's brother. They had a kid. They got engaged even. And then I guess the kid was 8 months. They didn't get married. So I'll read through the details of this stuff because it is an interesting story. And like I said, I don't want to call it bizarre or anything like that, because we're all connected, right? This literally shows you like how connected we are. And it's something that we need to remind ourselves, especially for the MAGA people out there. I promise you, like, you're probably in your life right now, you have connections with any kind of immigrants. If you live in USA, I mean, the immigrants are everywhere. It's a country of immigrants, right? And if you watch my channel, you're talking to one right now. Here it says, ICE detains relative of White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt. Okay. Leavitt has not publicly commented on her relative's arrest, while the other family members have launched a GoFundMe page. And I think that's to pay for legal stuff's expensive, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have detained one of White House Press Secretary's Karen Leavitt relatives as the Trump administration immigration crackdown continues. Okay. So the person's name is Bruna Caroline. Oh, it has the same name even. Caroline Ferrara. Just shows you like how close, we are to each other. Same name even. Is the mother of Leavitt's brother's son. Okay. So again, it would be Karen Leavitt's brother, right? Kid. And was detained in Revere, Massachusetts, according to multiple media sources. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security told NBC News that Ferreira is a, quote, criminal, illegal alien from Brazil, who is accused of staying on an expired tourist visa since 1999, which is a really long time, right? So that's like 26 years. So this is where the lawyer will say, well, they're under DACA. They've been, trying to get permanent residency or whatever they're trying to do. This stuff's complicated. And, this is something for, 27 years. And so for these kind of situations, we got to come up with some better way. And it really illustrates how slow the U.S. system is. I told you guys before, it took me many, many years. My wife and I, we had a whole fiasco with her green card. It was a really complicated issue when we got married, because I'm American. My wife is Korean national, and Trump had closed down many of the immigration offices, so we had to deal with like how do you do that? And I want to restate it more clearly. Close many consulates around the world. That's a better way to state it. Because so essentially it was difficult to get things processed in a timely manner. And even, now, let's say the government shutdown, there's any number of things where people want to get stuff, processed. It's the whole system is frustrating. So I want to be pretty clear on that. It says read some more of this. I have my biases here, of course, just being, frank with you guys on this stuff, but I do want to read the more details. It says, according to the spokesperson, Ferrara is being held at a South Louisiana ICE processing center. So that's what they do. They, ship these people off right away, and put them in, various private type prison type things. And it says here, nearly 1,700 miles from her home after being arrested of suspicion of battery. And so, like, for example, if they were to say deport her to Brazil, this is someone who probably doesn't know Brazil at all. I don't know her particular situation, but I'm just saying if she was been, say, since 99, that's quite a long time. And I don't think she's very old. Ferrara's sibling, Grisela dos Santos Rodriguez, launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to cover legal fees, which he hopes will give her sister a chance to return home to her family. So I guess that's what she looks like, and this would be the her kid. On the GoFundMe page description, Rodriguez says that Ferrara came to the United States as a child and had maintained her legal status through DACA. Quote, anyone who knows Bruna knows the kind of person she is. She is hardworking, kind, and always first to offer help when someone needs it. Whether it's supporting family, friends, or even strangers, Bruna has a heart that puts others before herself. Bruna's absence has been especially painful for her 11-year-old son, Michael Leavitt Jr. Right, so that's, again, Carol Leavitt's brother's kid, who needs his mother and hopes every single day that she'll be home in time for the holidays. According to the NBC source, Leavitt's nephew has lived full-time in New Hampshire since birth and has never lived with his mother. Okay. And then there's going to be conflicting reports on how well, and how often they see each other, that kind of stuff. I've read different things. A report by the Coleman Times say that Michael Leavitt had been engaged to Ferrari as recently as 2014. Okay. In the same report, and this part is strange. This part is really strange. You don't hear this very often. In the same report, revealed that he won a $1 million in a DraftKings Millionaire Maker during the 2014 season. Okay. And I think that's when they broke up for some reason. I think it's weird. I'm speechless, he said at the time. I just checked and saw they added the winnings to my account. It actually was a little more than $1 million, 8,000. I can't believe it. Ferrari was also quoted in the article saying she wanted to use the money to buy a, quote, lamp for my son's room. Okay. Other than that, we really don't need much. We have our health. We have a nice condo. We're really blessed. However, the pair seemingly split shortly after winning the $1 million in 2014. That part's strange. Who knows? With the source confirming in WBUR that Leavitt and Ferrari had been separated for about 10 years. Both Michael and Leavitt were raised in New Hampshire alongside their two siblings. Their parents owned an ice cream stand in Atkinson and used a used truck in Placer. Carolyn, the youngest of four, later went on to become the face of the Trump administration. Right? We already know who Carolyn Leavitt is. Quote here, it's a promise the president campaigned on that if you invade our nation's borders, if you break our country's laws, and if then you commit heinous, brutal crimes, you're going to be deported from this country and you may be held in Guantanamo Bay. That's the kind of stuff that Carolyn Leavitt says, right? And again, we're talking about the mother of her nephew. These criminals we're talking about, don't forget about that. Yeah, and if you want to go through this kind of stuff, there's actually a little bit more here if you want to go through that. That's like pictures. There was one picture here of it was the kid was with the president, with Trump. So it just shows you so Trump's even met someone who's directly affected by this stuff. This is one of Leavitt's brother's kid, and then again the mom is from Brazil, I think, and is being detained right now. So I can't tell you how this is going to resolve. I'll just say this: it makes the Trump people just look really bad. I don't know how else to say it. I think it's obvious on this stuff. And you know, my feelings of this stuff is, I think this story will probably blow up. I mean, when I first read it, now there's some people out there on social media saying, "Oh, this is Karoline Leavitt's sister." I wouldn't say that. It's not even sister-in-law. So be careful on some of that kind of stuff. That's why I read through it with you guys and told you guys there are different versions of it. I think ICE is claiming she did some sort of battery. Who knows? Could be anything. It could be a situation like the way ICE could paint things is like, you know, we went to go detain her, and you know, she hit one of our guys with whatever, right? Just for example. And then they'll say, okay, now we're charging with battery. So you never know that kind of stuff. And just the big one for me is that she's been in the USA for so long. So that's my thoughts on this one. I hope you guys are doing well and you're safe. And I'll catch you on the next video.